Good morning. You're listening to Maree Gifkins on the Health and Wellness Program. So welcome and listen in, tune those ears in. I've got some good things going on for you and give you some good hints and tips and tricks and techniques and all sorts of things. So grab a pen and paper if you want as well, because I'll give you some phone numbers. Okay, so I hope you've had a good Christmas and a really good New Year. We've got some odd weather happening, but hey, that's what happens, isn't it? And so I want to talk to you about the Oxydetox, and it's very new in Hawke's Bay, and it involves hopping into a steam sauna. And so I have the machine in my clinic in Hastings and also in Waipakarau. So if you want to write my number down straight away, here it goes, 0272 495090. Now, what is this Oxydetox? Okay, so it's oxygen and with ozone and in a steam sauna. So it's quite new. Steam saunas have been around for thousands of years, and we know the benefits of steam sauna. We sweat, we detox, we feel better, and our circulation is better. And so those benefits have been around for hundreds and thousands of years. We know about steam saunas, but quite often the traditional is our whole body goes into a steam sauna and we feel quite overwhelmed with our head. Our head can start to feel overheated and we don't feel so good, and our brain is telling us, quick, run out of here, it's not good for us. But we know it's good for us, and so we do try to stay in a bit longer. So my system is a little bit easier because your head is not in. So this is like a capsule, and the lid comes up and you hop into it and you sit down in it, and then the lid comes down and your head is out, exposed out. And so that way your head doesn't get overheated and you're not feeling overwhelmed, and you can look around. I've got both of the machines by windows, so you can look outside, and in my one in Waipakarau, you've got beautiful scenery. You're looking down into the valley and you're looking at the hills and you're looking at the hawks flying around, and you're seeing the cows in the paddock if they're there. So the Waipak one is very lovely. The Hastings one, well, where I'm at the back of Countdown. But I've got some trees, some shrubs in there. You can see a bit of greenery. And so you're sitting there in this pod for 30 minutes. Okay, so that's not too hard. That's not an undoable thing. So we sit in there and the steam is going for 30 minutes. And so that's opening up your pores, you're starting to sweat, and then there's ozone that's pumped in for 20 minutes. So ozone is made from oxygen, and so I have a medical grade oxygen generator, and then that goes into the ozone machine, and that generates the ozone, and then the ozone is pumped into this machine, inside the machine. So you're sitting in there sweating, pores are open, and then the ozone goes in through your pores, into the blood, and starts moving around your body. And what's the benefits of that? Oh, there's so many. It's so cool. It's very exciting. It's kind of the latest technology out. There's possibly only about 10, 12 in New Zealand at the moment. And we've got one here in Hawke's Bay. Well, we've got two, one in Waipak and one here in Hastings. So it's very exciting to introduce this to you. So what's it going to do for you? Well, like I said, lots of things. Let's look at the basics to start with. Every person that walks in, and every time you hop into the machine, your nervous system comes down. So if you're a little bit stressed, you've got a lot going on, you're a bit anxious, maybe your heart's racing at times, you can hop into the machine and your nervous system starts to come down, I reckon, about 3 pegs. It just starts to help you chill out and relax and come back to balance again. So everybody gets that, and every time you hop in. But when you step out, you've still got that spring in your step. It's not like, oh, I need to go home and have a couple of hours sleep now, I'm crashing. It doesn't feel like that at all. You still have your spring in your step. And so you get out, you're feeling relaxed, you're feeling lovely. It's not too overwhelming. The temperature can go up and down for everybody. So depending, if you're used to the heat, you can have it up. The average is about 37. So some people want it 38, 39, 40, and other people are already warm and they are okay with it down at 35. So that's adjustable quite easily. And when you get out, you're not like you've been to the gym. You're not all sweaty and sticky and hard to get your clothes back on. You dry fairly quickly, but your skin feels really nice and soft as well. It's a lovely feel. And you can most people or a lot of people feel quite, not lightheaded, just their brain feels easier because you're getting more oxygen in and moving around in the body. I felt the first time I hopped in, I got out and I feel like there's this buzz going on. I felt, I'm ready to go. And by the third time I'd hopped in, I realised I was running easier. There was more spring in my step when I was running. Not that I'm a big runner, and I don't run too often, but I did notice that then. My husband is a runner, and he loves to run, and he could go out for an hour. And I remember when I first got my machine in Waipakarau, and he'd had a calf injury, and it had been going on for about 5 weeks, I think it was, 5 or 6 weeks. And he was feeling pretty frustrated with it. It didn't seem to be going very easily. And even what I was doing, it wasn't healing quick enough for him, for sure. And so then we got the machine and got him in, and by about the 4th treatment, he says, I'm going for a run. I said, okay, and usually he'd be walking home. Well, this time he went out for a half-hour run, came back, he said, I had no pain. It was great. And the next day he was out and he went for a run for an hour, and the calf injury has never come back. And we're talking about 5 months now. So it's very good with sports recovery. It's very good for any bugs, viruses, bacteria, any of those nasties. I had a lady in today that had a sore on her toe, and it wasn't as healing as fast as she wanted, so we got her in with the ozone, because the ozone can kill a lot of different bugs, and it's extremely strong for breaking down and killing. So people with any kind of issue that they're dealing with, the ozone is only going to start to bring the body back into balance. It's going to help start building up the immune system as well. So there's lots of good benefits for having this an Oxydetox. And it's also helping with environmental poisons as well. If you've been exposed to poisons, hey, look, you can't tell me everybody's exposed to poisons. Every single one of us. You know, I drive from Waipac to Hastings on behind vehicles. What do you think what toxins do you think are coming out the car? Walking up the street. You know, cars are going past, motorbikes are going past, vans, diesel vans. There's a lot of environmental poisons around now. Then there's our food. You know, what's sprayed on our food? How many of us know how often something has been sprayed? We don't know. Probably better that we don't know sometimes, unless you got homegrown, of course. But then what are we doing? We're watering our gardens. What with? The town supply. What's that full of? Chlorine. We're washing in chlorine. We're drinking chlorine. There's so many environmental poisons that we are exposed to now, far more than we did 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You know, how many herbicides have we got going on? Pesticides, fungicides, denticides, all of these sides. How do they make them all up? There are so many chemicals and sprays, and a spray for this and a spray for that. We have things in our house for flies, and it sprays every, 5 minutes. You can hear it. It's like, don't be under it. You know, even air fresheners. Do you know what's in that air freshener apart from the nice smell? You know, we want to trust, but it's getting to the stage now we can't trust. We actually have to question a lot of things. We get a lot of pharmaceutical drugs now with, well, there's always been sort of chemicals in them, but there's a lot of different products in them as well. You know, we're breathing, we're eating, digesting, we're exposed to clothes, brand new clothes that we buy. Fungicide, they are completely sprayed with fungicide. You must wash your clothes before you wear them from the shops. So how did I get onto that track? Anyway, so there's so many chemicals, environmental chemicals. We need to detox regularly. We need to have some form of way of getting rid of, getting out, because we don't want these things building up. You know, they start building up. It starts to compromise our immune system. It starts to compromise our health and well-being, and we don't want any nasties coming in. Everybody else can have them, but we don't want these nasties coming in and getting us. We don't want any mystery illnesses. We don't want any of those, the letter C. We don't want any autoimmune diseases. We need to stay well and to enjoy our whole life, because that's what it's all about, enjoying our life. We need to be able to do the things that we want to do in life. So getting back to the Oxydetox again, let's have a look. I had a lady in that's had a problem for 30 years and nobody seemed to be able to fix it. The doctors couldn't, surgeons couldn't, and it seemed to have an issue. There was like a crack on the skin, and it was like leaking fluid all the time, sort of thing. So there was this issue, and every now and then she'd get an infection and it would need antibiotics. And so this has been carrying on for 30 years, so it's not just something that's just happened recently. 30 years she'd been putting up with this and couldn't find an answer to clear it, finish it, get rid of it, and she'd tried all sorts of different natural things as well as the medical. And so she heard about this, so she came in and, you know, it's like, ooh, well, let's just try. And she's absolutely over the hill, over the moon with this. It's helped, it's considerably taken it, all the swelling down. She's still in the process of healing, but it's nothing else has ever made this difference to her. So she's absolutely ecstatic with this machine and the effect it's had on her. Because you can imagine that if there's a sort of an infection in the system that's never really going away, and sometimes it's just in the tissues, you start to get below par. Your energies aren't as good as they should be. You're sort of fighting something in the background. And sometimes we don't have all the energies. We know there's something going on, but nothing shows in the blood. And nobody can seem to tell us. There's nothing, no break, there's nothing oozing. So it's like, oh, you're getting older, you've got to expect these things. Or another excuse, I'm going through menopause, or whatever it is. But actually we can have better health, we can have more health, we can have more energy, and we can be happier. And sometimes it's finding the right answer. You know, so getting that right combination. And I'll say that frequently to people, look, I'll try it this way, but if this doesn't work, then I'm probably going to tweak something and change something and come back in another angle. And so the Oxydetox, I've probably been in it about 20 times now, and it's certainly got my health better. Again, another step up. It's cleared things that weren't really an issue, but they were just there in the background. And other people have found different reasons they're coming in for, and it certainly helped. And which is why I got another one for the Hastings branch, because people were coming from Hastings and Havelock, so forth, to come through. So I decided to bite the bullet and get another one for Hastings. And so I do have a special running for all of February, so if you would like to try the machine, normally the price one-off is $85, and so I've got a special going for the whole February of $65. So you're in the machine for half an hour, but I allow an hour because you've got to get undressed and dressed and in and out of the machine. So, and although there are conditions with this one, it is a good special, $65 for the whole of February, so you can come in as many times as you like. Recommended time is if you've got something going on that you need cleared, helped with, you know, your issues with your shoulder or your knee and it's been going on for a little while, you'll want at least 5 treatments. If there's something major going on, you want sort of 10 treatments. And the the special is Mondays and Fridays. Mondays, Fridays and Saturdays if you talk nicely to Rosina. And you ring this number, so not my number, another number, and I'll give it to you right now, so grab your pen and paper. So her name is Rosina. She's a lovely lady. I trust her. And her number is 022 5903 191. So her number again is 022 5903 191. And so it'll be available on Mondays and Fridays and Saturdays. And it's only $65. And, you know, tell her that you heard about this on the radio show, so we know that the advertising is working. The information is getting out there. And and the other things is you need to be able to step up and step down. So you need to step into the machine and you need to step out of the machine. So you do need to have a little bit of flexibility to be able to get in and out. And your blood pressure needs to be reasonably stable. You can't have a blood pressure that's going up to 180 and down to 120. It needs to be stable, whether that's on medication or just normal. So we can't have erratic blood pressure because of the temperature. We're putting the temperature up, so your heart needs to be a little bit stable with the blood pressure. And anyway, you can talk to Rosina about that. She knows all the details. She was an ex-nurse, so she's very capable and a very lovely lady. So that's the Oxydetox that I wanted to tell you about. It's very exciting. And the other one I wanted to talk to you about is an essential oil combination called Hope, and it gives people hope. It's a wonderful combination, and I'm selling it at my clinic. It's $24 for a 10 ml bottle, and I am just finding it just creates miracles. It's unbelievable. The success rate is incredible, and it's working very well with things like pain in your knee, pain in your shoulders, painful back, burning, pins and needles, numbness, issues that have just started and there wasn't an injury, and you go, oh, what have I got? What's happened? Have I got arthritis? That's a kind of classic sort of thing when you can't explain what's going on. You can get x-rays and things and it will show there's some degeneration. But, you know, I've seen lots of x-rays where there's lots of degeneration, but the person's not in pain, and it goes the other way, you know, as well. So, anyway, this Hope oil is made from cloves, cinnamon, lemon, eucalyptus, and rosemary, and it's in a little base of apricot oil. So it smells pretty good as well. And to give you an example, I had a lady come to see me a couple of months ago now, and she had burning on one foot. Not burning to touch, but burning on the feeling on the inside, and it was there all night and most of the day, and every now and then the intensity could get worse or get less, but it seemed to be always there. And she also had this feeling of burning going up the leg, up and through the calf. She said it was hard to describe exactly where it was, but this sensation of a burning feeling on the inside. And so it's not like the skin is hot or like sunburn or anything like that. It's on the inside. And some of you may have that and you'll go, I know exactly what she's talking about. And it's not a nice feeling. I've had lots of people where it's burning on the outside of the foot as well, or other areas of the body. So it's the same, whether it's inside or out, or whether it's you can feel it or not. It's usually the same sort of stuff, unless you've had an injury, and that's different. You've had a fall and you know. And so she also had this burning going right up her leg, and then it was all up on one side of her spine as well. Just on one side of her spine, this burning sensation. So very unusual. I only seen it a couple of times in 25 years, so it's not a common thing. And quite miserable because I think she was in her early 40s. And, you know, you're still wanting to be busy. You're still wanting to be doing this, that, and the other thing, and enjoying life, and you're dealing with this day in, day out. And, of course, Nothing shows in the blood tests. She had had a brain injury a couple of years before that, and so they were trying to put it down to the brain injury and so forth. So she was feeling a bit miserable, and she was having her brain was a bit slow and a bit sluggish, and a bit of brain fog. And so life gets a little bit hard, and you can't get into life very easily because you don't know how from one day to the next day. And so she came along, and I said to her, look, you need to put this hope oil on twice a day, and then we'll talk in a few days' time, and or a few days later. And she came back and she goes, it's like almost gone after she'd had it for I think a couple of years, getting worse and worse. And I said, that's fantastic. So then I had to explain to her that there's probably something else going on behind that, because this hope oil isn't for pain relief, and it's not to bring the inflammation down. Its only job is to kill viruses and bacteria. And she looked at me and I said, so this is interesting, isn't it? So looking at it from a different approach. It is very hard to diagnose through blood tests, because sometimes the viruses are in the tissue and they're not in the blood, so it's not going to show up. And so I am treating people slightly different now lately over the last few years, because I'm realizing that viruses have really taken hold in people, and bacteria, and it's not just straightforward. It can be quite complicated, and if it gets in around the nerves, it can be quite irritating and annoying, and it can just stay in one area, or it can spread into other areas. And so you get a lot of different combinations, and you get a lot of different viruses, of course. Not that I can diagnose any particular one, but you sort of get an idea, and then you get a suspicion, and you go, hey, look, try this, and if that helps, then we know what we're dealing with. We know we're dealing with virus, so then we need to address that issue and slightly change your diet for a little while until we can get the virus under control. So I've seen lots of people with different combinations, and even shingles, and people that have had shingles for years and they're still getting that pain, that irritation in the nerves. Come see me, come talk to me. Why suffer if you don't have to? The hope oil is only $24. Oh my gosh, really? It's like, don't suffer if you don't have to. If you've got weird things happening in your body and it's not enough to take to a doctor, but you're concerned, it's coming, it's going, it seems to be getting worse lately, come and talk to me. Let's make an appointment, and let's suss this out and get this thing gone, or see if we can get it gone. So I've treated lots of people, and they've been able to get their lives back on track. Oh, yay. And so that's the hope oil. Also can be used if you're traveling. If you're traveling overseas, you are flying, okay, and you're all excited about your holiday, but you've got to get from A to B in the flights, and you know that that's where a lot of people get sick. Or people go on with their colds and flus, and they're coughing all around you, and it's like, oh, I don't want the flu when I'm going on holiday, or coming back from a holiday. How many of us have picked up something when we've been coming back? And we pick it up in the air conditioning units in the flights. And so it doesn't take too much to infect a whole lot of people. How many people? Hundreds of people on one flight. So the hope oil is fantastic. I just have it in my purse with a couple of cotton tips, sealed up. It's fine, you can get it through because it's only a 10 ml bottle. And what you do at boarding, when you're in the boarding area, you actually put a bit of the hope oil onto the cotton tip, and then you actually put it up your nose. I'm just covering my nose so you can get an idea. Everyone doesn't need to see what you're doing, or you can go to the bathroom, of course. So you just put it up your nostril and around and spiraling down through the tissues. And then you do the other side as well. And then on the other end of the cotton tip, you put a couple of drops on, and then you put it at the back of your tongue and up the roof of your mouth. And that starts protecting that whole area where you're breathing through. Fantastic for sinuses too, did I tell you that? Great for sinuses, because it gets in up into the little tissues in around the sinus areas, and it starts killing and breaking down the little bugs that are like hiding. It also helps clear your brain within 5 minutes. Your brain just feels clearer with this stuff. So if you're going on a long haul, I'll probably get it out halfway through, and especially if there's people around you coughing, and I'll do it again. And then when I'm there, I know that I'm going to get no bugs, and away I go on my holiday. If it's just a short flight, an hour and a half, you just need to do it once. That's fine. So it's this combination, and the hope is it's strong enough to keep the Black Plague away. So you can't lose. You really can't lose. It's an excellent product. So you've been listening to Maree Gifkins, and I have a clinic in Hastings, which is 201 King Street, and I also have a clinic in Waipakarau. And if you would like to contact me, my number is 0272 495090. 0272 495092. Thank you for listening.